Hello guys, welcome back. Now some of you may have seen my functional trailer video, maybe 1,000 or so of you. Jesus, that video did really well. Thank you guys so much. I wanted to touch on it again, and I took a couple of you guys' ideas. One of you recommended that we make the linkage much smaller, like the space in which it can move much smaller. So I've made it about as small as I possibly can. I think you could get it in a 1x1 gap. I just couldn't, and it took me forever to get it in a 1x0.1 gap. But so I have done that. I have made it smaller, and I have also added the idea of using this thruster that pushes upwards constantly, because a issue we were having was that it's always going up. So I was pushing the back of it up so it wouldn't be pulling the rear of the front ship down, but that just doesn't seem to work. I tried it the other way around with this thruster going down, and it just made it worse a lot faster because it was pushing this down harder, which was then bringing this up much faster. So I kind of wanted to try a couple ideas. As you can see, this isn't working. But I was curious if maybe this will get void if I do mass. Also, I did try and dampener to the grid. The issue is Control Z doesn't really do anything. Maybe we'll try that one more time. Control Z. Maybe I got it wrong, but you know. Oh, dampeners don't matter when thrusters aren't on. Hold on. Forgot about that wee little bit of an issue there. Can't use dampeners if there's no thrusters on. Not that I think it'll make much of a difference, but we'll try it. So, again. Yeah, I'm not seeing a difference at all. It doesn't look like these thrusters back here are even firing when it comes to like slowing down or anything. So I don't think that's gonna work. Maybe I've got it all wrong and you can damper and I've got it wrong. Maybe it's not Control Z but Shift Z. I mean, if I hit Shift Z, Control Z, and Alt Z, all of them do the same thing, including just clicking Z. Tab Z? Yeah, every button just does the same thing with Z. Yeah, I can't seem to dampener. I can dampener my character with Shift Z. Not that that actually helps in this presentation, but I can dampener my character. I just can't dampener grids to grids, so that's not gonna work. I do want to try. Well, first off, let's get a little more thrust on this because I'm gonna need it for what I'm about to do. But I was curious if the main grid weighed significantly more than the grid it's pulling, if it would make any difference whatsoever. So we're gonna, what do we think about 8 meters? Yeah, 8 meters, that sounds about right. 8 meters of heavy armor here. We're just gonna double it real quick, just as a little bit of a test to see if this makes any difference whatsoever. Okay. We're not going up sharply anymore, though we are, for some strange reason, still rotating to the right. I don't understand why. Oh, right, those ships back there, dampeners are on. Let's try turning those dampeners off. And try that again. We still slowly rotate to the right, but we can manually readjust. It's just a very slow process. I'm not all sure why it's rotating to the right. Oh, okay. Like, this is... Oh, I see. It's slightly uneven and it's slightly on the right. But as you can see, up until we got some high speed, it wasn't doing it as much. But I think we can actually fight this a little bit. Now, it's not ideal. We don't want to fight it. We want it to be capable of doing its own thing. Is that the space station out there? I think that's the space station over there. Hold on. I want to slowly rotate back around. I did not realize that was over here. But yeah, that seems to be working. It appears I've misaligned. And that's why it's slowly going right. So I'd assume under correct alignment it wouldn't be doing let's rotate this like this. There we go. That's slowing us down much better. It's kind of crazy we're able to find our way back to the space station out here. I was not expecting that. I kind of took off in a direction and disappeared. Well, it's jittery, but I mean, you can just spin around in it. Now I weigh a bunch, so now I have to drag my mouse. Ugh. Okay, so we now know why we're drifting to the side. But I also wonder if where the propulsion is would make any difference to how it, like, rises. Similar to, like, a rear-wheel drive car. Like, if it's, you know, all the horsepower is going in the back, you're more likely to do a wheelie. Sorta. Bear with me. There's a whole bunch of variables to that. But if I had more horsepower in the front, would it be less likely to lift in the rear? That would kind of incline the idea of aerodynamics in a weird way, but I do want to try it nonetheless. So we are now super fast. We're still drifting to the right, and we are lifting. I'm gonna wait for this to slow down, just in case I'm not dampered. I don't want to take off into the horizons. Also, if you're interested in this little X ship I've got going on here, it's not much. It's kind of dumb, but when they do add the Steam Workshop, let me know down below, and I'll upload it on there. It's not anything special. It's just a stupid little thing I built in creative mode on one of my first streams testing out the game. So, you know, if you like it, I'll upload it. If not, I'll just keep it to myself. All right, so that worked. I also want to add some slowdown because Jesus. Why are we... Okay, I love precision mode. That's very nice. Oh, okay, I love precision mode when it's precise. There we go. Alright, let's add more weight to the front, because I think, in theory, that was, or at least it appeared to be, working just fine. Now, for the sake of this testing, there is no thruster damage in the game currently, so bear that in mind. When the game does get thruster damage in the future, what I'm doing here may not function or work at all or as intended. So I'm just gonna double down on the weight in the front. I want this way out here to be just super heavy. In fact, I think it's safe for me to just chunk a big old chungus block up here, right? Now let's try this idea. So let's kind of get aligned so that way we're not already tilted. Okay, for some reason it's tilting the block in the back. Whatever. Alright, and let's go ahead and go. Our lift is like nothing right now. But we are still slightly rotating to the right. So weight does play a variable. How heavy the main grid is determines this weird little up and down going on. And it drifting to the right, I'm 99.99999% sure that it's just because the grid I have attached in the back is slightly offset to the right. Yeah, it doesn't appear that we're going up at all. We are a nice flat plane. But when we slow down really fast, that up there kind of, yeah. It would be nice if we could get remote control blocks. I think with that in the game, like, you know, being able to access a separate grid from the grid you're currently in, kind of like how we can in SE1, being able to access the grid behind us and turn the dampeners on when we want to slow down, I think that would be a really useful thing in the game, being able to do that. So then, you know, we don't have this weird little janky thing where it's flying up. Mind you, we were fine. It slightly rotated us down, but still we were okay. So would it appear my trailer idea does work? But there are some caveats. The main grid has to either be longer, which I think that plays a small part, but mostly it has to be heavier in the front, because when it's pulling, the back is getting pushed down on. But if the front's really heavy, the back can't be pushed as much, or at least that's what it seems to be happening here. We're gonna slowly drift our way back over here. I'm curious if I just disable dampeners, right? And we get a little closer, if I manually slow us down, if that will have a better like effect on the trailer. Yeah, we are slightly to right. If you look at the alignment, that is why we're drifting right. Although with enough weight, it doesn't appear that makes much of a difference at all. We're going to try that theory by making this even heavier. And we're also going to try a theory with attaching this to the large ship over here. I'm going to slow us down little bits at a time manually. Yeah, it's still janky, but I mean... Okay, well, I did not accurately guess how far we needed to go, so... Yeah, there we go. We're just going to kick in the dampeners back on. So that works. The trailer does work. It's just a matter of weight. Maybe thrust. Thrust didn't seem to change anything. Maybe if I had better side-to-side thrust control? We can give that a shot real quick and see if we still rotate. But mostly it appears to be weight. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this. That way we can see at a sooner interval whether that rotates it to the side. It would appear that we are still rotating. Yeah, we are. Okay, so sideways propulsion isn't gonna... Oh lord. That made a massive difference. So you want the grid that you're pulling to be lighter than the grid that you're pulling with. You know, side to side didn't seem to make much of a difference. Unfortunately, it seemed to continue to go to the side like it was. Though, I do have an idea. What if this block over here on the left of the ship was heavier than the block on the right of the ship? Because the main grid is on the right. But what if the main weight was on the left? Would it counterbalance what's going on here and it won't rotate anymore? Let's find out. First off, we have to go face the... Yeah, there we are. Because I don't want to lose that. Alright, let's try not to ram the blue ship. Alright, we're going to let our mouse go, and we're just going to see... No, it appears that we are still turning. Yeah, it seems to have no difference at all. But when I let go, the counterweight seems to throw us off. So if you knew you were going to drift, you could potentially set it up in a way that you can have enough counterweight on your grid to account for that when you go to slow down. But you're still going to continue drifting when going for it. And again, this appears to only be the case when you're going in a, like a lateral motion with this being offset. I'm sure you could manually control this, but I'm trying to think of the easiest dumb bob way to do this. You know what I mean? With the littlest amount of brain power necessary to accomplish this. And that is what I came up with. Now, we are going to try the method here of letting this have a smoother alignment. So we're gonna let it kind of shimmy over, and okay, let's shimmy it over the best we can anyway. As you see what I mean, it is kind of hard to get these things to move. Once you're in here, you're kind of in here. See if I can like push it and move it over. It does not appear to be working. Also, it appears I somehow broke it. No, we're good. Okay, well, we're gonna try the idea of just giving it an absorbent amount of thrust on the side and see if that helps at all. Doesn't appear it's helping. If I was to attach this correctly the first time, I think it would be fine. Also, I think a little bit of the pull is the fact that the grid I'm pulling is slightly higher than the grid that it's being pulled with. Although I say that, I swear in my last video when I built that weird long plane with the thrusters, it was not the same height, but almost equal to the center mass block, so where the middle of the grid is. Now, I could be wrong, but that's what I think. I wish I could just shimmy this over. It's just not want to go for me. It's just not having it. In fact, I don't even think we've moved at all with all the effort we've made. No, we've not. I'm curious if that is because of these blocks under here that I have set up to keep it from moving. But I don't necessarily want to remove them and accidentally yeet the grid. I'll give it a shot. Maybe that block in particular right there is what's stopping it. And because this block on the side is grabbing, it could also be stopping it. Ooh, that's wrong. Ah, I see. I've accidentally unattached the grid. No, it can't be replaced because there's a block in the way. Well, I made a mistake. Let's quickly exit the game without saving, so we don't have to deal with that. Well, that's a really good screenshot. I don't think I've seen that loading screen before. It looks pretty. And we'll load back in and see if it's not like that. So, thank you guys so much for the support you've given me. The video I did with the trailer reached over 1,000. Oh, God. Well, that's an interesting save point. Alright. Okay, we're still slowing down. Cool. Let's just get back here. We'll turn our dampeners on. Rotate ourselves to a flat pane. In the video before that... Oh, God. What was the video before that titled? Okay. So, I had a lapse in memory. The other video that had 1,000 is the video where I tell you how to export your grids from SE1 into SE2. Also, real quick, I checked my comments, and shout out GML Viper, who commented on the first video while I'm actively filming this one right now, basically word for word telling me what I just discovered about how this works. So, shout out to you, bro. Appreciate it. You're tiny bit late, figured it out just a little bit before you commented, but I appreciate you giving me that suggestion or recommendation, whatever you want to call it, in case I didn't figure that out. That's very eye-opening. Thank you, bro. So, yes, what were we doing? I kind of forgot. Right, we were going to try and move this over a little bit and make it more on the nose. Is that the word? I don't think that's the word, but it's the word we're going to use, because the word, and word is the bird. I'm going to go ahead and, just for the sake of making sure this doesn't detach again. Okay. Just, boop. Okay, just make sure that doesn't detach again when I do this. So, we are going to remove that block. Remove that block. Remove that block. Place that block. We're going to attempt, again, to get that to move over. I don't think we're making effort. Might be. I keep clicking the wrong buttons. Me? No. No, I don't think we are. Ah. What the hell? Is this... Oh, no, it's... Okay, it's... Well, it's not working because it simply can't. Let me go forward. There we are. Now we go left. We attempt to go left. Okay. Okay. We can't go left. Oh, Lord. Alright, give me a minute. I'm going to reset up this entire thing and test my theory. Okay, so I adjusted it, and I perhaps went a little overboard making sure it stays in because I had a little thing where it went flying the hell out. Don't ask me why. Our Lord and Savior Klang is still here. We can never truly escape him. He is here. But he's a little more forgiving than he was. I've made this cage because without it, things were going wrong. And I kind of wish I was recording when they were going wrong, because it was pure comedy. But yes, we have completely lined it up in the center, and we are still slightly above it, because I want to make that, I want to test that idea with it being above. But we are now going to, let me come over here, turn dampeners off, right? Because what if you're towing a ship, right? You want thrusters, you want gyros, so let's just turn dampeners off and see what happens. And then we're going to go here. Ooh. Okay. Well, good news. Oh, good news, it's like really in there, Jesus. Oh yeah. Okay. Do we still drift? It would appear at a very minute amount we drift. Also, our slowing down seems to be much more gentle with this new system. I mean, we're gonna get up to like 300 here, and then we're just gonna stop. It can't go up as high, which means it doesn't rotate the ship as much. Interesting. So making a bracket system like that holds it in a lot better than what I had previously done. Also adding those little bings on the side keep it from rotating as much. This was actually a great idea, creating that cage around it. Initially, the cage was there to keep it from yeeting itself into the stratosphere, because that was an experience. I don't know why it did that. I'm fairly certain that's a bug, because I wasn't able to recreate it while purposely trying to do that, and I didn't have it happen before in testing. It's just a one-off thing where yeet. But yes, this seems to be working much, much better. We do appear to still be slightly drifting up, but again, we don't have that big counterweight that we had before, so I think to take that into account, we're good. I do think using the counterweight system, even if you line this up and set it up like I have it, is still a perfectly good plan and idea, because... sorry, I lost my train of thought trying to see if those thrusters in the back were firing. It's still a perfectly good idea because you don't know what kind of grids you may be towing in the future, and why not have a tugboat set up to just do it all immediately instead of having to figure it out when you're there to move whatever you have out there, whether it's like an NPC ship you found, maybe it's a player ship because they finally added multiplayer. Please, I need it. I want to play with my friends. Or, you know, maybe you're doing some role-playing for a YouTube video where you, like, crashed a ship off camera and this is some strange thing you've come across. I would recommend adding the extra weight ahead of time in the front just to keep it from going up as much, because we don't know the size of the ship you're hauling. You know, this is just a general thing, because, I mean, the thing I'm pulling is perfectly symmetrical to the thing I'm pulling it with, minus the extra weight I've added. But, yeah, it appears that its up and down motion seems to be locked to distance in which the grid behind can move in a vertical vertical style. The word's like slipping my mind right now. Vertical plane, there we go. And it also seems to be tied to the density of the grid you're pulling. If the grid that you're pulling is equal weight or more than your ship, it is more likely to kind of do this weird little thing. But if the grid you're pulling has less weight and no thrusters on, or dampeners, I should say, it seems to work a lot better. Also, making sure that it is aligned to the center of your ship keeps it from drifting as much. Now, it is there, very small. I mean, what it would seem like, we can't judge distance in this game because we don't have waypoints or markers or anything, but it seems like it drifts at a very small rate. Like, you might kind of turn... how can I put it? If you're going 100 kilometers, that's your distance, you might adjust right by maybe 100, 200 meters. That's just how much it seems. And if you're, you know, occasionally course correcting with your mouse slightly, that's never going to happen. But I can't really tell you that for sure, because we have no ways of marking how far away something is without building a long block to it, and then doing the math of how many blocks that is, and how big those blocks are, and the blocks in total equal how far that is, you know? So I can't give you a concise answer. But we did figure out this trailer system. Now, I actually had other ideas where we were going to attach multiple of these in like a giant square pattern of chainmail and see how it performed if it was like weight distributed better, but this actually kind of solved the issue. I might still try that idea. If you want me to, leave me a comment down below to be, hey, try the chainmail tugboat thing, and I will happily try it. But I think this is successful. We managed to refine the trailer system, and now it works. Now, somebody was telling me to don't use gyros. Gyros bad. We'll see. We'll go ahead and take the gyros off. Maybe they're right, you know. But I don't see how gyros are going to be bad if the grid is not doing anything. But we're going to take them off and see if that makes any difference whatsoever. Also, for the sake of not taking 20 years to accelerate again, because we all have things to do, I'm just gonna... Oops, hold on. We're just gonna... Alright, there we are. Alright. I mean, it's still doing that, but am I lifting? No, honestly, I think I'm drifting more. Ooh, fairly well. I think I'm drifting more with the ship behind not having gyros. Let me take the thruster off. Maybe it's the thrust that made that happen? Do a little testing here. Okay, I'm fairly certain I'm not drifting. Let me add the thrust. Maybe the additional thrust made me drift. Is that going to be something we have to look out for? Too much thrust may be bad for this? I'm definitely drifting a little bit. You can see the star on the far left before the thruster is gradually getting closer to it. I mean, it's about to touch it now. We're definitely drifting more. Also, this immediate slowdown has thrown us all for whack without the grid behind us having gyros to kind of balance itself out. But I guess gyros don't need to be on it, but it just this little bit of testing feels like the gyros on the grid behind make a difference in a positive way. Having them off doesn't seem to be a positive thing. Now we are going to go ahead and remove the thrusters like the person recommended, saying no thrust at all, even though the dampeners are off. Who knows, maybe there's a weird little bug in the game and they consistently stay on. I don't know. It's a new game, bugs happen, so let's just try that idea. Boop, 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 boop. That's gonna come apart, isn't it? I love when I build things in such an aesthetically pleasing way. I'm lying, it's horrendous. That, you know, it could just come apart. That's not what I want either. Let's get number 5 detailing cube. Yes, we'll just buck that over real quick because that's definitely strong enough to hold this thing together. Logic. All right, and that should be all the thrusters. I might have missed some on the bottom. I did. So no gyro, no thruster. I want to see if it makes any difference. I know it will make a difference to weight, so it's how it functions may be a little different. Ooh, this is not a pretty sight, but it is working, so you know, it's there. Alright. Let me try and line that back up and go. I feel like I'm lifting again. I'm being serious. I think I'm lifting again. Not a lot, but it does feel like it's there. Now, I think an idea would be that if it's possible, on the grid that you were pulling, have it have a little bit of thrusters overrided downward. So when you release off the quote-unquote gas, the ship that you're towing won't do what this is trying to do and then send itself into the sky. It might help, it might not help, not entirely sure. I get that'll really come to fine-tuning the amount of thrust to weight ratio, but you know. This video was a little longer than I wanted it to be. I kind of thought we'd be wrapped up in about 10-20 minutes, but instead we're at 30 minutes. If you enjoyed the video, let me know down below. Subscribe if you would, please, please, please. I'm on the road to 500. Like it if you like it. Comment down below if you have any suggestions. If you want to see a part 3, perhaps. I mean, I'm willing to keep this science experiment up. If you have any other science experiment ideas you'd like me to try, write them down in good detail in the comments below, and I will get to them immediately. And, yeah, thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.